and there was peace. Each of our histories contain vast experiences that cross the gamut from intense pain and suffering to supreme happiness and bliss. Within that history are events we appreciate and others that we are not prepared to accept. These unacceptable events are often damaging and usually in contrast to our ethics, values, morals, and core beliefs. Healing comes through understanding and acceptance. But how do we move past these points of pain? How do we accept that which is not acceptable? First, let us understand something about self. As an aligned being, you are not your past deeds, nor are you the person of the past to which you may relate, the person to whom your memories seem to belong. You are the soul who is purified and has come out the other side. A memory which conflicts with your inner being does so precisely because it does not fit who you are anymore. Life is a journey through experiences by which we come to know ourselves. We make mistakes and grow through them. We come to know who we are by being who we are and who we are not, realizing our genuine nature through success and error. The past, we know, were a means of growth and learning. If we recognize our mistakes and would not repeat them, we have healed our misalignment. Some pain is not our doing, it is instead inflicted upon us. To understand how transgression fits into the world, let us look at the dynamic of life in cooperation. We live in concert with a vast number of others who choose and live autonomously as we do. Each of us makes decisions which impact others. Sometimes our choices involve a cost borne by another. At other times there are costs imposed on us by the choices of another. We may suffer for the want of another just as others may suffer our wants. Likewise, we may benefit others and others may benefit us, even when it seems unwarranted. To live in concert means that we all affect each other. There is no difference between the pain we experience helping another grow and the pain we inflicted while on our path to becoming. It is through contrast and introspection that beings grow, both us and others. All of life is contrast. We know the writing on a page for the contrast. For it were white writing on a white page, we could not read it. There is no pure sound. Instead, there are sound waves. There is no sound silence. And it is the contrast or intensity and frequency of this vibration that we detect. We know touch because when we touch, sensation replaces voidness. It is so for all senses, but there are no other forms of contrast by which we also grow. There are other forms of contrast by which we also grow. The combination of our sensory experience is what we constitute as life, and we take it personally. This creates contrast, for this is how things are and how we wish them to be. We cannot accept what is and respect the contrast, even if we do not like it. We move past a challenge by not personalizing it, or into a challenge by personalizing and exploring it as an opportunity to realize who and how we are. The most intense contrast involves emotion and often proves difficult to go through. When we have pain in our past, inflicted upon or by us, know that it is personal. We have chosen to make it personal, and so we relate to it and suffer. But take a moment to consider this pain. What is the contrast for which we punish ourselves? Does punishment serve anyone, and for what reason do we submit to suffering? Too often we forget who we are. The voice of reason in your head is you, the moral understanding being who is your eternal compass. This is you. Divinity is you, and you are beautiful. Your past contains events that are not beautiful, but the being who knows this and lives in accordance with learned values and goodness, that person is beautiful indeed. In knowing this, we can see that the contrast in our lives, while not always personally acceptable, can be accepted. It is as is. We cannot judge the path. We can only accept and be better for it. If you explore your past or the past I've shared thus far, you will see there was no point in which judgment spurned healing. It was always faith, love, and joy that led to the recovery of spirit. This is where compassion comes in. When we look at it, we've healed and times we've spurred healing, but we can see that compassion and love restore the soul. This is why your journey through healing is delightful, loving, and entertaining. It is why our lessons focus on the joys of becoming. It is why every tool I reveal is of empowerment, and that's why I entrust you with my journey. All I do to serve. I am living my purpose. You will likewise live your purpose, but first you must reveal and be your greatest self. You are but 2 chapters from realizing your final skills and defeating your dragons. I hope you're getting excited. You should be. The answers to being your greatest self, living the legendary life, and unshakable faith live now in you. So that's a bit of a different experience. It's not your typical one. Some very, unusual aspects about that. I've never really come across an experience before where the person is out of their body, so to speak, in their spirit form for so long. And I've never come across an experience where someone is able to observe what their body is doing. And this, for me, answers a few questions in terms of what does the soul actually do for the body? Does it keep it alive? Does it help it make decisions? Does it give it instructions? Is the body able to function independently of the spirit? And if this account is to be believed, and I think this is one of those more genuine ones, that yes, absolutely, a body can walk around without a spirit. In terms of its, I guess, so there is such a thing, if this account is true, that there is soulless bodies walking around out there, because this is exactly what this man was doing for a while, walking around in his body without a soul. So when the spirit or consciousness or soul was out of the body, this guy was just able to follow the body around and watch what it was doing. And, the body, he said, was able to function and make its own decisions. And if the spirit that this Chris was, he could also intervene and give the body some direction and tell it to do what it if it wanted to affect the way this shell was being operated. And he says occasionally he would actually jump in and tell the body what to do, and the body would obey. So, it's a bit of a strange one, this one, and it's not your usual near-death experience where someone dies and they leave their body and go to this wonderful place. It's, this one is more about, an out-of-body experience where the person's left the body and trying to get back in, but it can't. It can't fully integrate with the physical world. It's sort of stuck between 2 places. In fact, at one point in this experience, he talks about not meeting God or any other spiritual beings. He doesn't go to another dimension. He's still, he's still in this physical body, physical in the, I guess, the atmosphere, so to speak, of this physical world, but he can't he's trapped between two places. He can't get to the afterlife and he can't get back into his body. So he's just stuck there following his body around, and his body is just devoid of any love. He says on multiple occasions on this account that he tries to give his children a hug, and when he does, there's no connection, no love there. The spirit is not in the body properly or at all, and it's just more of a witness as to what's going on. But on the other side of the coin, he is able to, um, you know, there's no pain or suffering either. So he's more just that awareness. He's just able to watch what's going on, and this is how this account starts. He basically finds out that his wife has been cheating on him for 10 years. So, that is enough to send anyone into a lot of pain and despair and probably depression and really, really hurt. But in this case, as soon as he gets told this news, this is where his mystical slash out of body slash next dimension type of experience happens. This news from his wife is just a shock, and when he gets told it, he just jumps out of his body and is able to witness the pain as a spirit rather than be solely absorbed of it like you would in the body. And he is just able to witness how intense this pain is and not really feel it himself. Okay, and he says this experience out of his body goes on for months. He says his physical self is like operating a puppet. So, he's this spirit watching this physical body walk around, and he's able to tell it what to do. It's quite surreal, this experience. And, like I said, I've never really come across one like it. I have heard other experiences where people have had trouble integrating with their body, but they haven't gone into the detail this guy has. So just lost. So yeah, like I said, he's in this out of body state, and he describes it as the most empowering yet devastating experience of his life. He's able to. He can't feel the pain of his body, but he also can't feel the joy. So yeah, it's a double-edged sword. And this experience goes on for a while, and he says he doesn't really learn from it. I don't know what exactly he's supposed to be learning from all this, but it's obviously a process of his spirit or soul's evolution. And this experience is in three parts. So that first part is the bit where his wife leaves him, or doesn't leave him, but tells him this horrible news about being pregnant to another man and having been cheating on him for 10 years to multiple guys. And this creates this out of body experience. And then the second thing that happens is he's driving along in his van, and he has a car crash. And during this car crash, he leaves his body, but he doesn't nearly die, because as he leaves his body, like you hear quite often in near-death experiences, time stands still. Everything goes in slow motion, this split second of impact where the glass is flying around everywhere, and there's incredibly, vivid sounds of screeching metal, and, all this horrible stuff going on. The time just totally stops, slows down, and this moment becomes a little bit eternal and timeless in a way. And in this situation, this is exactly what happens here. He's able to see these shards of glass flying around, and he's just watching the sunlight reflect off them, and it's almost